I want to tell you the story about Bob. You see, Bob here, he just graduated from high school. He graduated and he has many options he can take. He can take the path that his parents said that is good. The marked path, the ones with clear steps. The path that is secure. Or he can go for this path. The paths that have a little bit more jagged edges here, you know, the chances to become a millionaire, the chances to become an athlete, or the chances to become an actor. All of these paths are so crooked, but one of them will lead somewhere, right? But Bob here, he's thinking, wow, there's so many options. Like, I have my whole life ahead of me to figure something out. So you know what I'm gonna do? Instead of choosing something by myself, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna close my eyes, spin in a circle, and pick whatever seems good. So that's what he does. So he picks this path, and this was to join the army. His thinking was, you know, I think discipline is what I really need, you know. You get a lot of money if you join the army. So I'm gonna join the army. He joins the army for 3-4 years, and after 4 years, he gets a job at the army, and he continues down this path. 20 years later, he's now 38 years old, and he goes to his job every single day. He has a wife, he has kids. He's not happy with the job he has, and he's been there for 20 years. Every day he asks himself, if I just went back to this point and actually chose what I wanted to do, where would my life be instead? You see, Bob could have either chosen his life path at this point, or he could choose again right now. He could change his life path if he wanted to. But the reason why he didn't choose the proper life path right now is because he was under the pressure of getting somewhere before it's too late. He was forced down a path, and now he's in this path of life where he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know what he's meant to be here for, he doesn't know what he's doing. All he knows is that he has a set of circumstances, he's working at an office job, so he got here. So this is where, unfortunately, most people end up in life. They spin in a circle, they pick a random path, and they hope it gets them somewhere, instead of consciously choosing their path. Some people are lucky enough to actually know what they want before they're forced down a single path. But a lot of you are right here, where you feel like you're forced down a certain path and you have to get somewhere before it's too late. But you don't always have to be like that. So in this video, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure that you know by the end of this video what your purpose is. You're gonna get to where you actually wanna be, instead of a path that wasn't yours. Because without a purpose, without actually knowing where you wanna go, the world is gonna choose your path for you. So let's actually go over purpose and why you need to have a purpose in the first place. So what even is purpose? Purpose is just having a reason to wake up and move and do something. So without true purpose, you're either going to be drifting or living a false purpose. You don't want any of these, okay? Drifting is the worst of the two. Drifting is when you wake up and just go with whatever happens. And you do not want to go here because, in all honesty, that's where the matrix is. 99% of people are just drifting through life, and they wake up and they go with whatever happens instead of consciously choosing something and consciously creating a life. So this is where the world tells you who you are. This is where the world tells you your opinions, tells you what is right to think, tells you who you should be. This is where your external controls your internal instead of your internal controlling your external. This is where you're on the defense instead of the offense. If you're under 25, you're lucky because it's gonna be a lot easier for you to actually get away from this. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're not a drifter. You're someone who actually wants to figure out what their life purpose is gonna be. If you're not drifting, you may be under false purpose. Now, drifting is no direction, but false purpose is the wrong direction. That's where Bob was at. He wasn't drifting, but he was going the wrong direction. Purpose, real purpose, builds you to your higher version of yourself. When you're under a false purpose, you're not actually building towards that higher version. You're actually going away from that higher version. So to put it simply, false purpose is when you chase something that looks good, but it feels wrong. And there's actually signals that what you're chasing right now is actually a false purpose. If you're in college, if you're doing a job that you possibly don't like, you might be chasing it for 1, money, 2, approval, 3, security or safety. So if the work you're doing right now goes to any of these, so for example, if you're in college right now just because your parents said it's good to go to college, you might be chasing the false purpose. If you're in a job that you're only specifically doing for money, you're chasing a false purpose. When we say that false purpose is money, I'm not saying that money is bad. What I'm actually trying to say is that if you're only going to work for money and that's it, it might be a false purpose, because a lot of the people that they have businesses, if they're successful, the reason why they're successful is not because their love of money. It's because the work that they're doing, they actually love the work that they're doing. The money is like a secondary reward. They're getting rewarded for the value that they're putting out and the value they like creating. A false purpose is when you're chasing a result. You're more worried about the outcome or the result, but you actually don't like the process. When you can find something that you actually fall in love with the process of, that's how you know you found your true purpose. That's why everyone always says, fall in love with the process. The process. That's what it's about. Your purpose is when you love the process. So now you want to make sure that you're not living in false purpose, but at the same time, you don't want to be drifted. Okay? So, if you're in any of these two right now, recognize it. Let me tell you guys a story about when I was drifting, and also at the same time I was in a false purpose. Back in high school, I decided I wanted to graduate early because I realized that I wanted to become a business owner. I want to become someone who actually owns a business. I want to make money online and have location freedom, time freedom, all of that. And I didn't really know how I wanted to get there. So what I decided to do was I decided to take the last semester off of high school. So my senior year, the second semester, I didn't go. And I took that time to really try to figure out what business I wanted to pursue and try to figure out what my life purpose was. So on the second semester, at the end of it, I was kind of feeling this pressure to pick something because, I kept telling myself, oh my gosh, life is starting. I didn't want to lose any time. I wanted to make money, and I wanted to make a good amount of it. So one day, I got introduced to life insurance. So what I did was I took the test for life insurance, and I booked it down to Florida. I was nervous. This is my first real job ever. I remember walking in the office, and I felt my stomach drop. I had like a gut feeling about this is not for me right now. This is not what I want to do, because I walked in and I remember there was no windows anywhere. I remember everyone else wasn't my age. I was kind of like the youngest one there. I gave it a little bit more faith. I decided, you know what? This is only the first impression. Let's give it a little bit more faith and see what happens. So I sat down and I made cold calls. I remember I did not like making cold calls, but I still forced myself to do it. Which I'm glad I actually did the work, because I learned a lot from this experience. But long story short, when I was in Florida, I started realizing, maybe this isn't for me. I vividly remember at one point that this guy I was supposed to train, he asked me, why do you like life insurance so much? It was his first day, and I didn't have an answer for him. I was not being my true self. I was out of alignment. I had really bad anxiety. I had really bad thoughts. I had just really bad mental health. And I was smoking a lot of weed. I was vaping. I was doing all of these bad habits. I just can't align with this business model. It's just not what I want to do. So I went back with no plan. So what I did was I drifted. I drifted for 3 months. I literally had no idea what I wanted to do. I wake up late. I go to bed late. I wouldn't shower for 2 days. I literally had no direction. I had no purpose. I played video games. I literally did not know what I was doing. So when January came around, the new year came around, a new office for the life insurance place was actually opening up near me. So they're way closer, not in Florida anymore, 20 minutes away from me. So now, this is a sign that I should go back. That's what I thought to myself. So I wasn't doing anything, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try again. Maybe my mindset back then wasn't correct. Maybe I didn't have a good mindset for this. Maybe the opportunity was for me, but I wasn't ready for the opportunity. So I went back. I decided, you know what, I'm actually gonna do this the right way this time. So for 2 months, I was grinding again. I was doing cold calls. I was actually making the amount of money I wanted to make. But eventually that feeling of false purpose, I was just chasing the money, it came back. But I ignored it again. But I kept ignoring it. But eventually this false purpose, this lure of false purpose kept coming back to me. And I started to question things. I started to question, what am I actually meant to do? What do I actually want to do? What do I want my life to look like? And I was still working when I was answering these questions. I was still working in life insurance, but each day as I was working, it almost got more and more clear that I didn't want to do this, and instead I actually wanted to do this YouTube channel. And the more clear I got, the less I wanted to do the job of life insurance. So eventually I had a really hard decision to make. It's either I can go chase what I actually want to do, or I stay and I'd be miserable. I'd rather be selfish and not hate life than be fake and miserable. So I left. It was a hard decision, but I knew that this was an aligned decision. It was a hard decision to make, but I did it. And what actually allowed me to make this decision was the process of figuring out what my purpose was. And that's what I'm actually going to show you today. So we already went over what false purpose and drifting is, but now what we're actually going to go over now is how to find your purpose. And we're also not just going to find your purpose, but we're going to develop your vision for life. Because once you find your purpose and you know what your vision is, then you're going to become unstoppable. Because once you have your sight on something, when you know exactly where you're going, that's when you're going to be happy. That's when you're going to be clear. That's when life gets better. That's when life becomes meaningful. That's when life starts to have color and vibrance. It's so exciting when you have purpose. It's almost like every day you wake up and you actually do the actions that you need to do to get to your vision. It's almost like it's inevitable. And that's what excites you every day. And that action that you take becomes passion. And that passion is part of your purpose. So once you know these two things, oh my gosh, you're gonna be lucky. And this is really good. This is really good for you. And as I said earlier, the earlier that you can find your purpose and know your vision, the better it will be. So we need to actually go over this so that we can actually figure out what your life is going to be. Now, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm going to give you a guide. I'm going to show you how I did it. But this is your job. You have to ask yourself these questions. I can't just give you a vision for your life. I can only give you a guide. So let's get started on how to actually find your vision and your purpose. Let's go, motherfuckers. Now, I want you to realize this. A big reason why people do not actually find what their purpose is because purpose to them is like something above them almost. You know, like you're here and it's almost like your purpose is above you. And it's like almost like unachievable. It's like a mystical treasure that, you know, it's going to take forever for you to find. And if you can realize that purpose is not above you, it's actually for you. Like, it's almost like you guys are equal. It's not above you. It's not like, it's not going to take your whole life to find out. You're not going to just stumble upon it. You need to actually find it. That's important. So realize this first, that purpose is not mystical. Purpose is actually what you're meant to be doing right now. It's something that you're aligning with. And you don't need to deserve to find your purpose. You don't need to deserve to actually go for it. You can have it right now. So my purpose with this YouTube channel is, number one, improve myself. Number two, while I'm improving myself, I'm documenting the journey and the steps I took so that step three, that I can help everyone else do it. And I can develop frameworks to actually make their best self and create the life that they want. That's my purpose. The purpose that I chose and the purpose that I found would actually fulfill me the most in life, that was meant for me. The first step I realized was that purpose was not above me. I could actually do this. I could actually do this now with what I have. Realize that you develop the skills so you can fulfill your purpose. I wish there was like an undo button on whiteboards because I kind of messed up here. But anyway, the way that you become fulfilled by it and you have that burning fire is by passion. And passion comes from mastery of it and believing that you're good at it. You don't like the things that you're not good at, but you do like the things that you're good at a lot. Because whenever you're trying to develop any skill, it's always going to be difficult in the beginning. It's always going to be boring. It's always going to be repetitive. And there's always going to be friction in the beginning. But you know, once you actually develop a skill, there's going to be a point where you actually start liking it and you want to do it every day. So that's how purpose and passion kind of go together. Naturally, you have to, of course, develop the skills to actually get better at your purpose. Let's say that you want to become an author, right? And that's your purpose. You want to teach people through your books. Naturally, what you're going to have to start doing is becoming good at writing. In the beginning, you're not going to like it, but you know your purpose is to teach. That's your purpose, is to teach. And you want to do it through books. And so you say to yourself, well, I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to write a book. I don't even know how to write properly. I don't know, how to write a good story. I don't know how to do any of that. So you put purpose above you. But you got to realize, in order to fulfill your purpose, that you have to develop mastery more. You got to realize now that if you can't do it now, doesn't mean you can't start now. You can start right now to fulfill your purpose and start practicing that writing skill. Because as I said before, all the pleasure is in the process of fulfilling your purpose. All of it is in the process. So the process is the passion. So how do you actually figure what this is? What is this right here? Let's go over that. So in order to find this right here is to start with micro steps. So some micro steps you can start doing is exploring more. Explore different fields of study that you've never explored before. For example, go watch videos about like physics. Maybe you like art a lot. Go watch videos about art, like graphic design as well. Go watch videos about graphic design as well. And then actually do these things. Start like writing your own physics formulas, or go start doing your own graphic design. And then you don't even have to like read stuff, go out in the real world and do this stuff. Go to places that you've never been before, if you can. Go to new environments that you've never been in before. I was thinking very narrowly. I was thinking, oh, okay, I can either go do online business or life insurance. And that was my entire thinking. I was in this echo chamber of thinking. I went to my brother's friend's place where he rented, and he was like a barber, and it inspired me for some reason. Like, he rented it and he owned his own barber shop, which is like, oh, well, that's actually really cool. He has his own thing. And then after that, his older brother came around and he was like, yo, you guys want to see the garage that we have? Like, they owned a car shop. And we went to the car shop and they owned this big car shop. And like their little brother was working there. They had another employee there. And they were like 24, 23, and they already owned like their own car shop. And like that just like, oh my gosh, these guys, like they blew my mind open. Like my mind was more open. I didn't even fathom ever owning a car shop. I thought it was so cool that they owned their own car shop. Like, if I wish I could have owned my own car shop where I'd fix cars. I didn't even know that. So that experience opened my mind more. So another thing you can do is actually go experience more stuff. Put yourself in new experiences. I don't know if that's how you spell experiences. That's fine. So go figure out new places of studies, and then also go figure out new experiences. So take those micro steps, and maybe it will be revealed to you more. Go talk to new people. Go deeper into these fields. And then another thing you could do right now is go back to obsession. If you're obsessed with something, that's a great place to start. I had a few obsessions when I was younger. I loved reading. I loved building things. I loved GTA 5 online. You guys know about the online. And then I also loved coding and anything to do with computers. I loved anything to do with computers. I love coding. I love making beats. So this is what I figured out about myself. I journaled for a little while, and this is what I was mostly obsessed with already. Maybe you guys love YouTube videos, or you have to figure out your own obsessions. Because obsessions, they're like clues. It's almost like right here is your passion and your purpose, or your obsessions are what point to it. Because they all connect. They all point to the same thing. They point to one thing. And what I figured out from my obsessions is that I loved learning. And I loved building. I loved seeing something, for example, in GTA 5 Online, I remember I was literally level 0. I had to start from a new account at one point. And then I remember after 6 months, I was already at level 200. I had all the businesses in GTA Online. I had all the businesses. I had all the MC businesses. I had the nightclub. I had the CEO tower. I had everything. I loved building from 0 to the top. That's what I love doing. And I love learning. So I love to learn and I love to build. So obviously this YouTube channel made a lot of sense to me, because with this YouTube channel, I get to learn about myself, I get to learn about life, and I get to learn about self-mastery, and I get to build something around learning. And they go with each other. And that's the beauty of the entire thing. I figured out what I was obsessed with, and those obsessions led me to the purpose I'm pursuing now. So that's why you have to go from the obsessions. Obsessions are really great. So figure out what you're obsessed with, and maybe they'll lead you to your purpose. Time flies when you're having fun. If you've ever done any activity that you really love doing and you check the time and you're like, oh my gosh, so much time has come by. Obsession and passion is when you're doing something and you forget to check your phone. That's the most simple way to put it. Purpose is the why behind why you do anything. It's the meaning you give to something. My obsession, for me, my purpose is to prove myself that I can actually build something great. That I can actually master my mind and myself. That's what I love about this journey. This is what fulfills me so much. I wake up every single day to do it. Even if I'm failing, even if I'm self-sabotaging sometimes, even when I'm not doing the best I can, I love it because I'm learning from all my mistakes and I'm building on top of that. You see the beauty of that. And you can find something as well like that fulfills you exactly like that. And there's something for you out there. And I want to let you know, once you figure out your purpose and once you figure out what you actually want to do, the main thing that you always have to remember to do is to commit to it. Committing isn't taking away your freedom. It's actually the opposite. Committing doesn't give you limits, it gives you freedom. Because once you set your mind on a vision, and you commit to that vision and you commit to that purpose, then your mind is like, okay, there's like nothing else I have to think about. It's only what I'm doing now, just what you put in front of it. So this is you, right? You kind of figure out what you're obsessed with more. You have a clear vision. You've narrowed your vision down from all of this to just this right here. And stick to it so that your attention isn't on these anymore. All your attention is going to go here. All your focus is going to go here. All your willpower, all your life force is going to go to one thing. If you can commit to it and commit to it even when things go up and down, it's going to be fine, because it won't matter if it goes up and down, because your purpose and your passion isn't linked to any results. Like I said before, your purpose and your passion are always linked to the process. So commit to it. So once you get what you want to do, you know your purpose, we need to develop a deeper vision of what you want your life to look like. We want to have that vision for life where in 5 years, this is the exact person I want to become. In 5 years, this is my vision. This is what my vision is. This is me in 5 years in Bali. I look at this every single day in the morning because this is my vision for life. This is complete freedom to me. I want freedom. That's what I want, ultimately. After we commit, we want to create a compelling future. Obviously, passion is being in love with the process more. But you still need to actually make sure that you're still paying attention to the results, obviously. Because if you're not seeing the fruits of your labor and you don't get that positive feedback, you're not going to want to keep doing it. You don't develop passion from not seeing any results of you developing your skills. You have to create a compelling future for yourself. So what's the dream that you have? What's the dream life that you want to live from this future? And what does it look like exactly? What are you doing every single day? What time are you waking up? What are you doing when you wake up? What does your life look like? Where do you live? Down to the detail. So first step of creating the compelling future is to unlock your imagination. Imagine as if anything is possible. Don't set limits, even if it seems unrealistic. Like you say, I want to have a $10 million house. And that seems unrealistic to you. In your imagination, it's realistic. So don't limit your imagination. Let it run free, let it run wild. Just let it go. And then in your imagination, set a clear direction. So set clear direction. With your passion, your purpose, where do you want to go? If you fulfilled everything in your passion, if you actually achieved what you wanted to achieve, what would it look like every day? And 3, take that vision that you have now and turn it into action. Turn it to action, and the sooner you can do it, the better. And then step 4, rebuild your environment. You see, the reason why that's important is because if your environment's not helping you get to the vision you want, then it's going against you. There is no neutral. If your environment is actually causing you to create more bad habits, you need to get out of that environment or change how your environment actually acts. You see, my environment is set up for success. I have a whiteboard where when I'm not recording videos, I have my goals for the week. I have my vision board over there. I have books at all times. So instead of going to school on my phone, I grab a book instead. So your environment either helps you or doesn't help you. And if your environment is filled with people that don't actually support you in your goals, or they're not aligned with where you actually want to go, then you need to either change your environment or change the people you're around. That simple. So you got to rebuild your environment so that actually helps you. So that's how you create a compelling future. Unlock your imagination and believe that it's completely possible. Don't set limits. Set a clear direction with where you want to go. Like, how would it look like if you succeeded? Take action on that. Put it into actionable steps. And then rebuild your environment so that it's easier for you to take the right actions. And you actually have positive feedback to take the right actions. All right, so after we actually create a compelling future, the last step is goal setting. Now, goal setting is important because you can have a vision for life, but if you don't have structure for your vision, it's just a dream. So you need goals. Goals are really important. This is what goals do. Instead of looking at this as like you have this huge mountain to climb to get to your vision, what it does instead is it makes little tiny increments. It's like little baby steps. So that if you get to here, you get to your first goal, that you had that little positive feedback of, okay, I got to my first goal. Now I can get to my second goal. Now I can get to my third goal. Then my fourth goal, and then my fifth goal, and by the time you get to your fifth goal, you're already almost halfway done. Like, look at that. Instead of just going up the mountain and going from point A to point B, you did little baby steps to get from point A to point B. So you have to have clear goals. So obviously you guys know how to goal set. SMART goals is one way. So obviously it's specific, measurable, achievable, reachable, and timely. So that's how you have your goals. So that's a great way to actually have a goal. That's a great framework to actually set goals. And then you have identity goals. Let's say you have like a vision to become a bodybuilder, but you're a swimmer. So you have the identity of a swimmer, but a bodybuilder has identity. Their identity is a bodybuilder. So you want to set identity goals to actually become a bodybuilder. You can see yourself as a bodybuilder because your habits follow your identity. So what would a bodybuilder do? Every day they would go to the gym. You have to have goals for the identity you want to become. So you have to have goals for the person you're becoming. So you have to take steps toward the vision. So that's basically how you make goals to get to where you want to go. So this video was basically about finding purpose, actually building a fulfilling life so you can build toward a good vision for your life so you don't just waste your life. So as far as that, you have a choice. You could either watch this entire video today and then just think about it and then not actually take any action towards it, or you can decide what you want to become. You can actually start asking the right questions for yourself so you can start building toward your purpose and your vision. So you can either drift or decide. But as far as that was all the content for this video. Make sure that you do subscribe, it always helps. But that was all for this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.